About checking websites for state registrations. Notice that they say that they are incorporated in the state of California. So we go to the California Secretary of State's website and we look up our importer. And we get back some results. Looks like there are 2 American imports. One says forfeited, the other says suspended. Let's take a look at that first one. I believe that forfeited means that they went out of business and that they reported this to the state of California. But notice that the address is different from the power of attorney. Notice too that the state of incorporation is different. Let's take a look at that other American imports. This is the one that was suspended. I believe that means that the state of California has suspended them, probably for not paying their taxes. But here again, the addresses don't match. So our importer might be one, or both of these companies, and they're just sloppy about their business, in which case I would ask them to give me better proof that they are who they say they are. Or this might just be an importer that's, how would Click and Clack say it on Car Talk?
That's bogus.
Something like this can represent cargo theft, a compliance risk, a trademark violation, or a terrorist threat. Maybe I'd rather this importer found another customs broker, like that one that never comes to WESCCON. Now about restricted parties. Those of you who also wear the export hats should already be familiar with restricted party screening. Go to www.bis.doc.gov, and after you listen to Barack talk about export control reforms, click on the link that says Lists to Check. And here you will find the 6 most important lists to check. You have to search them one by one. Alternatively, there are companies that can offer a more streamlined approach to screening, and several of them were exhibiting right here at WESCCON. Now, I don't know what this will tell you about our potential import customer. Technically, these lists are all about export restrictions and would not preclude them from importing, but there may be some value for non-resident importers. Okay, let's look at one that actually goes well. Suppose we did get a power of attorney from Microsoft, and it's signed by Jean-Philippe Courtois with the title of President. If we go to the website for the Secretary of State for the great state of Washington, we find Microsoft. Notice that Washington State does not show addresses. The address here is for their registered agent. That's a problem with this system. Not every state does it the same way. But some states do show corporate officers, and here we see our Jean-Philippe Courtois. And we can always go to the importer's website. Many will show their corporate officers. Voilà, c'est Monsieur Courtois. Here's a list of the Secretary of State websites. It's not complete because I haven't yet had need of information from every state. If you are viewing this on YouTube, click on this link below the video and download the spreadsheet with clickable links to your computer. If not on YouTube, you will have to manually go to www.importexportgeeks.com/docs/poa.xls. That's www.importexportgeeks.com/docs/poa.xls. Something else we've done at Linden is to create a centralized repository for both import and export powers of attorney. Too often, one office would ask for a power of attorney from a customer, only to have the customer say that they'd previously given power of attorney to another office. It's currently in a Microsoft Access database, but I'd like to eventually have this running on Linden's intranet. Here you can see a link to the state government websites I showed you a moment ago. And here is the link to a lookup form. there's a drop-down menu to look up companies. Here's the basic information, and a section for non-resident corporation information. And here's where I can list all of the sub-powers of attorney issued to outport brokers. And if you click here, you can view the power of attorney. It's in there as a PDF along with its verification from, in this case, Connecticut. And if we had that IRS letter, it would go in here too. Now, I said that this was all best practice, and something that I recommend that we do as best we can. But in a recent CTPAT validation, they asked what we do to qualify our importer customers, beyond the normal credit check. I told them about how we use the state government websites. I guess they like that idea, so now it's a required, documented, and verifiable process in our security profile. Today we print out our findings and attach them to the powers of attorney. So all this works pretty well until you get that power of attorney from a non-resident importer in Hong Kong. Where do you go for their IRS letter? How do you check for their business registration? They might have a website and they might list their corporate officers, but don't count on it. And what about the individual who just wants to import his souvenirs from his trip to Bali? His tax information is pretty confidential, and he has no business registration. From a trade compliance perspective, you're going to have to do the best you can with the tools available. There is no 100% solution. But from a CTPAT perspective, these might as well be terrorists. By the way, does that guy look familiar? Isn't that our good friend Dan Mailer? Thanks for viewing this presentation. Hopefully you found something useful. If you need to reach me, here is my contact information.